Right, so they came up with the money and they said, right, go away and do it. So you actually had to sit down and write these songs, which, for a minute I thought maybe it is the Beatles. Maybe this is the sort of joke they really would appreciate, to actually go and do it like this and recreate it all and actually get together and not really tell anybody, because it...
Wonderful idea, actually. There's rumours in America that 3 of the Beatles actually play on it.
So how did you do it? I mean, how does somebody... You hear these songs and you think, well, if it's so easy to do, what was all the fuss about in the first place?
I don't know if it was that easy to do. I think somebody else might have been holding the pen. I don't know. I don't know. You can't. I can't define inspiration. I mean, it's. I don't often write with a deadline, and I had a deadline, and I had different sorts of songs to do, and I just started working on them, and they just sort of came out one after another. I mean, it sounds oversimple, but it took about 3 months to collect. I wrote about 30 and chucked out 6, and there's about 24, in fact. I mean, some of my favourites are the ones, in fact, that probably aren't on the record. You know, the early days stuff. You know, I wrote a parody of, in fact, Chuck Berry, because it was Blue Suede Schubert was the thing I came up with. Right, full title.
Give me some, for instances, right? Well, you actually sat down, you listened to I Am the Walrus and thought, right, we'll take the piss out of I Am the Walrus.
Oh, not take the piss out of.
Well, recreate I Am the Walrus.
Yeah. That was you know, that's another turning point in their career. I mean, it's madness to think you're trying to put 5 years of music onto one album, you know, in something like 3 weeks. But if you look back through the Beatles' sort of history, that was Penny Lane, I Am the Walrus, I nearly said Waitress. Hey Jude, I mean, that wasn't mentioned. I mean, that was the first 7-minute single. They did a lot of firsts, you know, and no one had heard all these strings and things scraping away in quite that manner, and backwards tapes and things like that, and just sort of sounding off. And it was a good one to do. It's nice. I always liked I Am the Walrus anyway. I thought it was one of the best things Lennon ever did.
How did you manage to get those songs? With A Girl Like You and If I Fell, when you're so close, how are you able to get as close as that without actually being dragged into court by, you're nicking?
I don't know. I think the copyright laws are very vague as far as I know. I believe there's something like 8 notes that have to be the same. If they're the same and are like the original's refrain, I think then you're in trouble. But in fact, with any of these songs, in fact, you don't never get near 8 notes in being the same. I was very aware at the time, you know, because there could be trouble.
So, I mean, you sat down and actually wrote the original notes and thought, well, we'll just shift these two around.
No, I didn't do it that way around. I thought that would be cheating. I did it from memory, and if I thought that was too similar, I'd change it on the spot, you know. And then when I'd got them finished and was happy with them as songs, and I checked them with the originals. And I did in fact get around to checking those until we actually went in the studio and started listening to the production, because we had to make them sound the same, which involved, you know, squashing up sound with limiters and whatnot.
But how did you actually do it as it originally was done? Because it was all 4 tracks.
Well, right, no, we used 24 track, but we didn't use all the tracks, you know, even on that one.
Who was it actually playing? Was it actually?
It was actually Rutles, yeah, with the 5th Rutle, Lepo, you know, Ollie Halsall, who's you know, whose work just shines out of that album. You know, his solos were amazing. You know. First take solos, you know, every time. I mean, there wasn't time to sort of sit back and decorate things. You know, you just had to get steaming through. It was such an awful lot of work to do, you know, and the time that we had and the budget we had.
How much time did you have to actually record it?
2 weeks. I mean, that's to actually lay it down, and then it took about 10 days to mix. So that's average. Well, I know, it's quicker than most albums, I'd imagine. These days, sort of people tend to sort of book a continent and go away for 5 years. And
but it's not only the songs, but that production and the guitar sounds and even the drumming sound. I mean, the drumming is Ringo.
Well, that's right. I mean, the drummer knew what to do. The engineer, Steve James, knew what to do. And everybody, you know, knew what to do because they remembered and loved the Beatles so much, you know. So, I mean, all credit to everybody who worked on the album. I mean, it was a nice experience because everybody knew what to do in their own department. You know, like John Halsey on drums knew exactly the sort of Ringo fills to do. And often, when we listened to the production, we found that in the background of a guitar solo, there'd be a piano doing the same notes. So we did the same thing. And bongos flipping through on the early stuff. So we did the same there. You know, never knew so much was going on in these early Beatles records until you really sit down and listen to them. You, hello, what's that? Castanets? You know, and there is, you know, every now and again, or something.
Some castanets.
Yeah. Well, we kept raiding the percussion box, you know, the studio percussion box, the bits and pieces.
But what gets me is, right, that you can do that now, and yet people were trying to do it in 64 and 65, and they couldn't do it.
I don't understand that. I don't either. I mean, how could you... Well, you couldn't really do a blatant copy of the Beatles, could you? I mean, cover versions of the Beatles, I don't know.
Cover versions, but you
Marmalade
could
did it.
sound like...
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, get that same sound and that same production wise.
Maybe they weren't listening hard enough.